historic event. You're probably observing the oldest substitute in the world at Folsom High. Okay. Mayor Mickles will be along shortly. He's doing an honor court, an Eagle Honors Court. But here comes, so you got me for a while. So, would you call the roll?
Council members Gaylord,
Here.
Howell,
Here.
Morin,
Here.
Sheldon,
Here.
and Miklos is absent.
Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, any updates on the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor, you have 3 agenda updates this evening, or 3 amended items, I should say. Item 7C, item 8A, and items 10B all have amendments to the staff reports. That amended information is available at the back table in the chambers. And then also this evening, staff is requesting that item 10B, which is your joint City Council Folsom Ranch Financing Authority meeting, staff is asking that that item be moved up to be heard immediately after the consent calendar.
Fine. Well, tonight we got 5 presentations, so we're going to take them in order. And the first one is for our police department. I've asked Roger to do that.
So my item 5A this evening is proclamation of the mayor of the city of Folsom proclaiming National Police Week, May 13th through the 19th, and Peace Officers Memorial Day as May 15th, 2018 in the city of Folsom. Yes. Hang on.
So I'm going to be presenting the proclamation for National Police Officers Week. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States has designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in recognition of law enforcement officers nationwide who have sacrificed their lives or been disabled in the performance of their duties. And whereas the week of which May 15th falls is also designated as National Police Week in recognition of the service provided by thousands of federal, state, and local law enforcement officers. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand that duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of those who dedicate their lives to the law enforcement profession and to keeping our communities safe. And whereas Folsom police officers and officers throughout the state and nation risk their lives on a daily basis to maintain peace within our community and protect the lives and property of our citizens. And whereas since the horrific terrorist attacks in the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001, the demands, the risks, and the commitments placed on our nation's police officers have increased significantly. And whereas the members of the Folsom Police Department provide a vital public service safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of this city. Now, therefore, I, Roger Gaylord, on behalf of Mayor Stephen Miklos, Mayor of the City of Folsom, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of May 13th through 19th, 2018 as National Police Week in the City of Folsom. Be it further proclaimed that May 15th, 2018 shall be Peace Officers Memorial Day in the City of Folsom as well, and that the United States flag shall be flown at half-staff at all city offices on this date, proclaimed this 8th day of May, 2018. And I'd like to give Folsom PD a big round of applause.
Your next item this evening is item 5B. This is a proclamation of the mayor of the city of Folsom proclaiming May 20 through May 26 as National Public Works Week and May 16th as City Works Day in the city of Folsom.
Okay. This is a proclamation of the mayor of the city of Folsom relative to City Works Day and National Public Works Week. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our residents' everyday lives, and whereas the supportive, I think is the right word here, understanding and informed residents is vital to the efficient operations of public works systems and programs such as water, sewer, storm drainage, streets, public buildings, transit, solid waste collection, recycling and hazardous materials. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent on the efforts and skill of City of Folsom crews and officials, and whereas the Folsom City Charter and Folsom Municipal Code encourages broad, informed public participation in civic affairs, excuse me, and whereas the City of Folsom seeks and encourages the advice and input from the public on matters related to the city, and whereas the City of Folsom desires to provide information to the public about municipal operations, and whereas City Works Day is designed to inspire residents to discover and learn about the City of Folsom's wide variety of public services and programs, and community members are invited to attend and participate in the event. Now, therefore, I, Carrie Howell, on behalf of Steve Miklos, Mayor of the City of Folsom, on behalf of the Folsom City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of May 20th through May 26th as National Public Works Week, and May 16th, 2018 as City Works Day in the City of Folsom, and call upon the residents and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing public works, and to recognize the contribution that Public Works and other city departments made daily to the health, safety, comfort, and quality of life in our residents. Proclaim this 8th day of May, 2018. From my other friend, the engineer.
Yeah, thank you. So Dave Nugent, your Public Works Director, Mr. Vice Mayor and council members. Honored to receive this on behalf of the Public Works Department for National Public Works Week. We also have Christine Brainer, your Communications Manager, and Michelle Casamo, our Administrative Assistant, for a little presentation to give a little bit more in-depth discussion and maybe some of the history of City Works Day.
Good.
So, I don't know which one of you are taking over, but there you go.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. We're pleased to share with you information about City Works Day. City Works Day is designed to educate the community about the City of Folsom's various programs and services and engage with our community, especially our young people. The event is held annually in May and is free for the community. More than 25 interactive experiences are offered to Folsom's residents, allowing kids to climb aboard a fire engine, watch a canine demonstration, or honk the horn of a city bus. The event has been held since 1998, and this year marks our 20th anniversary. The event has grown significantly since over the last 20 years, and last year more than 1,200 community members attended the event. More than 65 city employees are involved with bringing City Works Day to life, and 7 departments representing 17 divisions participate. The event has received very positive media coverage from our media partners over at Good Day Sacramento, CBS 13, ABC 10, KCRA, the Sacramento Bee, and Folsom Telegraph.
This year, in keeping with the tradition of our standard timing every year, we have City Works Day held on the 3rd Wednesday of the month of May. That's next week, May 16th from 9:30 a.m. until noon. It is a free event. It's held at the City Lions Park here on campus next to the Folsom Public Library. Just to give you a sense of some of the activities that we do, this gives you a feel for the various vehicles that we have out from our various departments who serve the city every day. We also have different trucks and sweepers. We have all kinds of booths, including our water conservation booth, to educate the public and employees who staff them to help give them hands-on experience about what we do and why we do it every day. This gives you more of a sense of it. And the event is built for all of our residents, from the youngest all the way through our older resident community as well. It's easy for us to talk about things in words, but what we wanted to do is leave you a lasting impression with a video clip that we have from KCRA that tells our story of City Works Day.
And Folsom hosts an open house with city services on display for kids to get up close and personal.
Well, big event in Folsom is making a lot of noise, but it has also given kids and families a pretty good idea of how the city works. Dozens of excited kids got to check out and sit in city vehicles, including garbage trucks that honk ambulances, fire and construction trucks along with city buses. Look at, they got to sit in the front seat there. The goal of City Works Day is to educate kids and their parents about the city's programs and services.
The kids are learning the city offers a lot of things for them, and they're a part of the city. It's important for them to learn not to pollute, not to throw things in the sewer.
The event also featured a robot that taught the kids about the importance of recycling.
We hope that leaves you with a visual impression about City Works Day. We're looking forward to celebrating it next week. Thank you.
Your next item this evening is item 5C, presentation on the upcoming Amgen Tour of California, Stage 6, Men's Start.
Almost ready. So it's now May. The calendar's turned to the month of May. And May is Bike Month. And in Folsom, that's one of our, we've had this week and then that week, but in Folsom, we do a whole month of cycling. So it's already kicked off last weekend with the Great Scott bike ride, and I heard thousands of people enjoyed a really nice tour of Scott Road south of Highway 50, south of White Rock, all the way towards Rancho Marion and back. But in the United States of America, there's maybe no bigger way to celebrate May as Bike Month than the Amgen Tour of California. And we're next week, a week from Friday, going to host a stage for the third time in the city of Folsom. And the key thing, I think, to take away from our efforts here is that center box there where it says broadcast in over 200 countries and territories around the world. And that's really one of our key economic development opportunities to advertise the natural beauty of our city, and then also that we are quite a cycling friendly community. So my purpose tonight is just to leave you with a little bit of visual in anticipation of what you're going to see next week, and also describe a little bit of the community advisories that we've put out there. But on the day, Friday, May 18th, you'll have really a morning special event, if you will. And different than the time trial efforts, which turned out to be all-day affairs. We knew that, but and we were well planned for it. But there is a certain level of community disruption associated with that. That is not the case for this year's event. A stage start, which will be conducted on the Johnny Cash Trail, we're going to be at this for about 2 hours or so. And the impacts to our street system are going to be measured in minutes, not hours. But next Friday, the event starts at 8:15 with our Lifestyle Festival. For the community that is watching this or hears about it, my recommendation is get there early and plan to walk a short distance, because the rodeo grounds where we're holding this there will be no parking down there. There will be limited parking around the Civic Center. And all legal parking on streets, of course, is encouraged. But plan to walk a short distance, but get there on time, because there's going to be unique opportunities to see the riders before they start racing. And it's a very different vibe, if you will, because the riders are not all stressed out about their time trial that they're about to race, or they're not tired from the race that they've just completed. It's very casual in the morning, very social, and you'll be able to get up close and maybe grab an autograph or have a chit-chat with some of the best riders in the world. But at 9:30, the start ceremony begins. At 9:35, we have the rider call-ups. That's where the leaders of the race to this date, and this is stage 6, so we've had 5 races up to this point, so the race has started to sort itself out a little bit. At 9:40, we have our honor guard and national anthem, and the son of one of our retired city employees was the winner of our national anthem contest, and he competed against 16 other locals and did a fabulous job on that. So Scott Rivers, son of Dan Rivers, is going to be our guest singer. At 9:45, the race begins, as I said, on the Johnny Cash Trail, just on the west side of the Robbers Ravine Bridge. It will start in a neutral rollout, so they're not actually racing yet, but they will be lined up as if they're heading down the road in race formation, but just the clock hasn't started. And at 10:30, the Lifestyle Festival will conclude. Here's the course. So on the left side of the screen, that's the Civic Center and the rodeo park and rodeo grounds. And so you'll see the stage 6 start. It's a mini festival. I wouldn't say that it's a massive festival. It's a mini festival. They will head up the Johnny Cash Trail. The gold stars denote great locations to watch this rollout. And they'll be going slower, so you'll get a chance to see your favorite riders, that sort of thing. They'll head up the trail, and they will not cross the Johnny Cash Bridge. They'll come out on East Natoma Street just before the intersection of Folsom Lake Crossing Road and East Natoma. They'll hang a right there on East Natoma. They'll head down to Blue Ravine, Green Valley, take a left on Green Valley, and you'll see the little zero on the line there. That's the approximate start of the race in front of Mormon Island Dam. They call that the 0K, and that's where the green flag will drop, and now they're racing to South Lake Tahoe. A squiggly lined map or route means that it's hilly, and it's 122 miles and 16,000 feet of hills with 7 categorized climbs. In cycling terms, that means it's hard, really, really hard. And that's what it looks like to race from Folsom to South Lake Tahoe. So it will be an epic event, probably the deciding event of the race. Certainly something good to watch. I understand that the TV broadcast will be 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Live on NBC Sports. And if you'll just indulge me for a moment, I'm going to show you what the world will see from Folsom about our stage. I'll give you the 30-second video, the 30-second commercial produced by Visit Folsom, which will advertise our city to the world.
Well, I may be right and I may be wrong, but you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Cloudy in the west and it looked like rain. Round the curve come a passenger train. Northbound train on the southbound track. He's all right, I'll even, but he won't be back. Well, the Rock Island Line, she's a mighty good road. Rock Island Line is a road to ride. Rock Island Line is just a mighty good road. Well, if you ride, you got to ride it like you find it. Get you thinking that's a station on the Rock Island Line. Well, I may be right and I may be wrong, but you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
So there's our partners, our key partners. There are a number of them supporting the effort this year, but we're looking forward to a tremendous event next Friday. And the day wouldn't be complete without a bike ride. There's going to be a celebration ride, a short 27-mile ride up to Rescue and back, a little longer 45-mile ride to Shingle Springs, Rescue and back. We have partners with REI, Folsom Bike, and concluding with the Lazy Dog. There's going to be a watch party with all of the TVs in the Lazy Dog patio and bar will be tuned to this channel. We've got just about all the food you're going to be able to eat if you're riding the ride. So $10, the rides are free, but $10 to attend the watch party. We'll have Lazy Dog swag and City of Folsom swag and Folsom Bike swag for raffle prizes. Should be a lot of fun. So, and I haven't told you, we've notified 400 residents of the very specific road closure times. So really in this year's event, only the residents that live on the lake side of East Natoma, so La Colina del Lago, Elvies Lane, Morning Walk, and then the Knolls development. Those are the few residents that will be have a short inconvenience of about 40 minutes or so from 9:30 to 10:15 as we close the course for a short period of time. So they've received a personal letter from the city on that. And then the residents that live near Stafford Street and Mormon are getting a personal visit this week. They're not going to be locked down, but there's going to certainly be a lot of congestion for a couple of hours Friday morning for the event. So we're just advising them get out early or just shelter in place, as they say. But it won't be nearly the imposition as the time trial, but I think nearly the same amount of fun. That concludes my report.
So Robert, there's a reason why you're our Park and Rec Director. Outstanding, outstanding, outstanding.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you for again bringing Amgen back, and thank you for hosting the community to another wild, wild, wild fun event. And so hopefully you'll continue for many years. And I know it's a lot of work for you and your staff and your conjunction with or coordination with PD and fire and all the other affected departments, but this city's going to be very proud of what you guys do.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I would be remiss if I didn't give credit to my staff. Lorraine Pagioni has been kind of training this year in my customary role, but all of the other departments, Public Works, Community Development, Public Safety departments, very, very important. And I didn't also mention the mayor's ride this Friday. So there's another ride for you. So as I opened with May is Bike Month, that's what we're doing this month. We're riding.
So as long as you're talking about the mayor's ride, why don't you let them know we got a captive audience?
Yeah, so this Friday, the 11th, food at the top of the parking structure, 8 a.m. We roll out at 9. We're heading for the Capitol. This year, instead of being sponsored by SACOG, it's sponsored by the Air Quality Management District and the Highway 50 TMA, so they're doing a nice job getting the city on their bikes and showing that cycling is a fantastic alternative mode of transportation to driving.
Yeah, and for those that want to ride down there, it's mostly downhill. If you don't want to come up, we have light rail passes for you to come back. Thank you, Robert.
I happened to be in Robert's office about a couple of years back, and when he got the phone call that acknowledged that AmJam was coming to Folsom. So Robert, you're a little bit humble. You take a lot of credit because you did a lot of work to make that happen. That's why they called you and told you they were coming. So good show.
Thank you.
Anything else for Robert? Okay, great. Thank you, Robert. Next item, please.
Okay, your next item this evening is item 5D. This is a resolution of commendation honoring Folsom Vista Junior Eagles for receiving the 2017 Soaring to Excellence Award.
Okay, so we have Fabian Biaghetti, President of Vista Junior Eagles, and Pammy Boyd, Vice President, to meet me down here. Of course, I know you guys are all lined up, ready to go, so the Vice Mayor and I will meet you right down there. So before we start the presentation, I'd like to read this resolution of commendation. So boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, if you listen, because it's a very special honor for those young men and women right there. So this is a resolution of commendation honoring the Folsom Vista Junior Eagles for receiving the 2017 Soaring to Excellence Award. Whereas the Folsom Vista Junior Eagles are a youth football and cheer association for the city of Folsom and working in close alignment with the goals and achievements established by Vista Del Lago High School, the association helps the students prepare for success in future high school programs. Whereas the Folsom Vista Junior Eagles have demonstrated commitment to both scholastic and athletic excellence. And whereas the city of Folsom supports its commitment to superior academic and athletic achievement, and to earn the award, members of the Folsom Vista Junior Eagles football and cheer teams maintained a grade point average of 3.0 or better during the football and cheer season. Now, therefore, I, Stephen Miklos, Mayor of the City of Folsom, on behalf of the Folsom City Council and the Folsom community, do hereby extend commendations of the highest regard to the Folsom Vista Junior Eagles for earning the Soaring to Excellence Award and encourage their continued scholastic excellence in the future. Passed and adopted this 8th day of May 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a great round of applause.
Okay, so I'm here for both Fabian, Chris, and myself, so all three of us tonight, to give the awards to all these kids who work so hard. Their hours are endless of school and practice, and I know when I was a kid, there's no way I could take on the workload and the practice schedule and the game schedule that these kids have. So they truly earn this and they deserve this, and we hope you enjoy it. We switched it up a little bit this year, okay, guys? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the cheerleaders first. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so first we have Anna Baker. And Ashley Beck. Kira Bender. Just kidding. Evie Boyd.
Must be a connection.
Zoe Bratton. Lauren Broccoli. Nyla Bernelli. Haley DeCreek. Bella DeWild. Malia DeWild. Corinne Hammond. Madison Herr. Lindy Homer. Ava Johnson. Chloe Casina. Alyssa Limon. Sorry. It's only because I love it. Peyton Martin. Jordan Akakis. Emily Olive. Natalie Peterson. Amber Ruggles. Jenna Webster. And Miss KJ Wilson. Okay, now we're going to go on to the boys. Will Anderson. Carson Englesey. Nico Biagetti. Caden Bowman. Hunter Broccoli. Anthony Camarillo. Braden Kaylor. Liam Edwards. Gavin Green. Cade Greenma. Cameron Eisenagel. Ethan Jones. Thomas Keegan. Johnny Kett.
Really? Okay.
Matt Long. Luke Levitt. Brock Mendenhall. Logan Murray. Brandon Nasworth. Andrew Powers. AJ Rezzini. Tristan Sackman. Carter Schultz. Mason Womack. That is all. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's also give a hand to all the parents and the coordinators and all the special leaders of this program. This would not be possible without them, so let's give you guys a hand too.
Typical of our real good youth sports, smart kids and great parents. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. So our next item this evening is item 5E, Resolution of Commendation honoring the Folsom Teen Council for their contributions to the Folsom community.
You notice the teen council has it down right because they know the TV camera's up there, so keep looking up there.
I'll let you hold this while I read it from here. Okay? You know, this group of kids, they're everywhere. You know, if a park and rec without them, we'd be hurting. So, and I know one thing though, I paid the bills, and they love to eat. They love to eat, I can tell you that. But that's good. They're worth everything we feed them. Okay. Accommodation honoring the Folsom Teen Council for their contribution to the Folsom community. Whereas the Folsom Teen Council was formed in 1994 and provides an opportunity for high school students to be involved in a program that serves the community and promotes a sense of belonging, purpose, and a voice of the community. And whereas the Folsom Teen Council, as a longtime partner with the Folsom Parks and Recreation Department, strives to enhance and deliver exceptional services by participating in the Veterans Day Parade, Spring I still call it the egg hunt, Renaissance Fair, Senior Center Pancake Breakfast, and numerous community fun runs. And whereas through partnership with the STARS, Student Today Achieving Results After School Program, a great program. The Folsom Teen Council has a positive influence in the lives of Folsom youth through tutoring, shopping with the STARS. That's a great deal. Carnivals and art days. And whereas the Folsom Teen Council also provides opportunities to help enhance the CAVE teen centers by soliciting donations, including game tables, game consoles, and other items as needed. And whereas the Folsom Teen Council has contributed over 15,000 hours of volunteer service since 1994. And whereas the Folsom Teen Council has reinvested over $150,000 into the Folsom community through funds raised through numerous grants and special events. Therefore, I, Ernie Sheldon, for Stephen E. Nicholas, Mayor of the City of Folsom, on behalf of the Folsom City Council and the Folsom community, do hereby extend commendations in the highest regard to the Folsom Teen Council for their continuous generous contribution to the quality of life approved in this 8th day of May 2018. And I want each one to come up and identify yourself so the people on all TV can know you. So come right up.
Hi, my name is Melody Gao, and I'm the vice president this year, and next year I will be the president.
Hi, I'm Nahal Sadigian. I'm the PRC for Folsom High School this year, and I will be the secretary next year.
Hi, I'm Elle Eastip. I'm currently the PRC for Vista, and I'm going to be vice president next year.
Good job.
Hi, I'm Juliet Jung, and I will be the Vista PRC next year.
Hello, I'm Prakar Sinha, and I'll be PRC for Folsom High School next year.
Good job. I think he's a bodyguard.
Before you guys leave, don't go anywhere just yet, so make sure you're looking at TV camera. I want to let everybody know, I've had 21 years of the Mayor's Cup Golf Tournament, and I think the second year, I asked the teen council to come out and assist with the raffle and the prizes and any other duties that Park and Rec and the city staff could find. And I have to tell you, I'm impressed because you have never missed a year for 19 straight years. So be proud of yourselves for your commitment to not only your school, but your community, because a lot of that money that we raise at a golf tournament goes right back to you guys. So thank you for all your hard work and dedication. I hope you can pass it on to the people that are coming behind you. It's a worthy cause, and you're a testament of what it actually funds. So thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and call the next item, please.
Your next item this evening is business from the floor. You have 2 requests to speak. The first is from Dean Ross. The second is from Stephanie Haley.
Okay, these are items that you get to speak to the city council of items not on the agenda. If there's another blue slip, please bring it to the officer right there so we can be recognized and know what item you want to speak on. If we look like we're deer in headlights because it's not an agendized item, we're not allowed to answer questions and get into deliberations. We can only take testimony. And then if it's an agenda item that for future consideration, the council will give the direction to the city manager. So good evening. Sorry I had to do that disclaimer because people want to know why can we don't respond and stuff like that because we can't.
Understand. Good evening. Hi, my name is Dean Ross. I've owned and operated a company called Key Housing Connections for the last 25 years. About 10 years ago, we moved into Folsom, bought a building on Folsom Boulevard, and we've loved being in Folsom. That is until about a month ago. And that's when the Out of Bounds Brewery moved in next door. Quite frankly, we were all really looking forward to this brewery opening in the neighborhood. It was going to be a fun place to go and get lunch or get dinner or grab a beer. But unfortunately, it's been a nightmare ever since. Little did we know that this is much more than a restaurant. It's really an open-air venue. An open-air venue capable of holding 400-plus people, because it has. We've observed it. Yet this development was approved by the Folsom Planning Department with only 58 parking places. This is barely adequate for their own employees, let alone their customers. As a result, our development has been overrun with brewery patrons, desperate to find parking, swarming over our parking lot, destroying our landscaping as they're looking for shortcuts to get into the brewery. Our business and that of our neighbors have been seriously disrupted. Our association has had to purchase expensive fencing between our properties to replace the one that the developer took out. Our association has had to hire private security to protect our property from the brewery patrons. We've appealed to the brewery for assistance. They said it's not their responsibility. We've appealed to the Folsom Planning Department. They claim the brewery parking meets the letter of the law. How the hell 58 parking places meet the letter of the law for 400-plus people? Doesn't make any sense. Our businesses are suffering. Our property is being damaged. Our liability exposure has increased exponentially. Our association is facing extraordinary expenses to protect itself from this external threat. And I'm here just asking for relief. I respectfully request that this council either amend the Brew House Plaza conditional use permit to require adequate parking or revoke the permit entirely. Also, please consider requiring reimbursement for our out-of-pocket costs of fencing and security that we've incurred as a result of this error. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. So I watched our planning director making copious notes, so we'll compare later. Thank you. Next person.
Next is Stephanie Haley, and Stephanie will be followed by Larry Washington.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm actually just, I had a couple questions. I mean, I know you can't probably answer, but about 7 months ago, when we were up here on the Folsom Heights Phase 1 community you guys are building on the county line of Sacramento and El Dorado County, that is actually adjacent to the Stonebriar development, which I live in. I was just curious, after about approximately, I think it was 7 months now, there were some road changes, some design changes for the first phase development, which is now in Genie Ranch, I understand. You guys are going to start there now. I was just curious if there was a builder still planning to build on that phase 1 area, which is now not phase 1 anymore, and if there's a developer builder or someone, you know, in escrow on that piece of land, and where I can find any of the changes that we talked about 7 months ago, and if there has been any new development on that road changes, the development changes at all, that I can update myself and my community up in El Dorado Hills. And just was wondering where I can, or if there any movement on that, those changes have taken place yet.
If you can leave your contact information for Pam Nelson, our planning director, she can forward that to you.
Okay, thank you.
I can tell you there's been no changes with the EVA. Okay, next.
Next speaker is Larry Washington.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Larry Washington, speaking on behalf of the Lake Natoma Plaza Owners Association at 13405 Folsom Boulevard. We are owners of 10 individual buildings and over 35 individual businesses that share, with over 100 employees that share 232 parking spaces at a cost of $60,000 a year to maintain. We are asking for the city's help. We have a new neighbor to the north, Out of Bounds Brewery, who became our neighbor and opened up about 3 weeks ago. They have 57 parking spaces. The problem, they have in the evenings and weekends a staff of over 50 workers and as many as 500 guests. We are the next drive over with our 232 parking spaces, and that becomes their parking lot. They have totally filled every single space, and when we pull out, there's 2 cars waiting for a spot. In the first 3 weeks, we have tried to secure our property at the expense of over $5,000 to, one, put up a temporary fence, of which the Out of Bounds had taken down, security services, temporary signage, and a towing regiment, which we reluctantly have done. We met with the owners of the brewery and with the developers in hopes things could work out. They're not at fault, and we believe that their customers too are not at fault. We sat down and tried to work out a solution for some borrowed parking. They're looking for a working solution as well, and I think they're looking around to secure some more parking. We want them to succeed and we want them to do well, but not at our expense. We consulted with our insurance providers and our attorney and found out that we could not share any of our parking spaces without extreme cost to rewrite our CC&Rs and become a retailer and extreme liability on the insurance side, unfortunately. So the Out of Bounds Brewery and the property owners will not help us with the fence cost or the signage, permanent signage, unless we give them parking. This is not okay. We need the city of Folsom to help and maybe re-look at this in the planning portions. and require perhaps a fence or help us with the cost of a fence and an appropriate parking solution for the brewery. We don't want to monitor our parking every day, which we've been doing, or pay for security or have people towed.
You go ahead and wrap up for me. Your time's up.
Okay. We are now putting up a temporary fence at the cost of $7,500. We were told that they would not participate with that. Being an architect, I know that when you count for parking spaces, I went through the bar, they need to count the covered outside overhang area. They need to count the areas around 5 fire pits outside, and they need to count for higher density around the standing room at a bar, as well as get the fire marshal to check for exiting requirements to get out of the outside area. We need a permanent solution, and we need it quickly because it's costing us quite a bit to continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you want to leave your contact information with our planning director as well? She'd be happy to take that for follow-up. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been told about this problem, and it is a problem. So Elaine, would you kindly give me a copy of the minutes of the planning commission and the tape of the planning commission? I'd like to see just what was discussed and
Yes,
what was
I will.
agreed. I appreciate that, and I'll share it with everybody here.
Okay. Any further?
Elaine, isn't that information available on the website already?
It should be posted online, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions, anybody? Okay. Next item.
Next item is your consent calendar, and as announced earlier, item 7C has been amended.
Okay, anybody wishing to pull anything off consent? Otherwise, as amended, a motion would be in order.
I'll move.
G, as in girl. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so it's a motion for A, B, C, D, E, F, H, and C as amended.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I wanted to pull
G and H? G and H.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so A through F and E and C as amended. Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Gaylord?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Morin?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Miklos?
Yes. Okay, item G, if you want to call it that is.
Item 7G is resolution number 10,119, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a subdivision improvement agreement and accept offers of dedication for the Mangini Ranch Phase 1 Village Number 8 subdivision and approval of the final map for the Mangini Ranch Phase 1 Village Number 8 subdivision.
Okay.
I just wanted to vote separately on them.
I'm sorry?
I just wanted to vote separately on them.
Okay, did you have a question about that one? Okay.
So I'll go ahead, I'll go ahead and move G and H if that's okay, Roger?
I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, call the roll.
Councilmember Gaylord?
No.
Howell?
Yes.
Morin?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Miklos?
Yes. Okay. And next, I think is, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Your next item this evening is the item earlier discussed that we're going to move up on the agenda. This is the joint City Council Folsom Ranch Financing Authority meeting. So we will call that meeting to order and take roll call as Councilmember Gaylord.
Here.
Howell.
Here.
Morin.
Here.
Sheldon.
Here.
And Miklos.
Here. Okay, and the first item is
Your
public hearing.
First item is your public hearing 10B. This is Folsom Ranch Financing Authority, City of Folsom Community Facilities District Number 20, Russell Ranch, Special Tax Revenue Bonds, Series 2018. The two resolutions identified are Resolution Number 10,121 and Resolution Number 003 FRFA.
Mr. Francis, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm Jim Francis, your finance director, and I'm presenting the request to authorize revenue bonds for CFD number 20. The city council approved the formation of this district in November of 2017, and the bonds are to provide for and finance primarily the backbone infrastructure and the in-track infrastructure as well as some landscaping services. Russell Ranch is in 3 phases, and it's bounded by Highway 50 on the north and Placerville Road, and then White Rock Road on the south. So that's the area that's included in CFD 20. The total cost of the facilities that are going into serving CFD is $166 million. And you see the breakdown between the backbone, infrastructure backbone and in-track backbone sections of it. This particular issuance of tax revenue bonds is for an amount not to exceed $15 million. And it will be used to pay for the cost of acquisition of some of those facilities, as well as the debt reserve, capitalized interest, and some costs of issuance. Currently, the total assessed and appraised value is $55,310,000. The CFD is in compliance with your policies in that the value to lien ratio is greater than 3 to 1, and the projected tax burden is less than 2%. In taking these actions, you are approving various documents, legal documents needed to issue the bonds, including the official statement and the bond purchase agreement. And you're also authorizing the officers of the Finance Authority to execute those bonds and take whatever actions are necessary to issue the bonds. And with that, I would recommend approval of City Council Resolution 10121 and the Folsom Ranch Financing Authority Resolution number 003.
Okay, any questions, Jim?
I have one.
Andy?
So Jim, and you bring this up all the time when we have these before us. So you mentioned the policy of keeping the tax below 2%, and this comes out at 1.6%. Does that include, that's, I guess, property tax? Does that include all the property tax? Is that
Yes, it
cumulative?
does.
Okay, I've had a question on that before, and I assume that was the answer, so thank you.
Anybody else, any questions? Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll go ahead and open a public hearing on this item. If anybody wishing to come forward to speak on this item, please do so. I don't think I have any written requests. No written requests. Seeing them to come down, go ahead and close the public hearing. I'll move the item.
I'll second.
Let me back, Mr. City Attorney, do I need to move these individually?
Individually, please.
Okay, so I'll move item 10B, 10BIA, resolution number 10121.
Second.
Did I get that right?
You did. Councilmember Gaylord? Howell?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Miklos?
Yes. And I'll go ahead and move resolution number 003-FRFA.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Councilmember Gaylord?
No.
Howell?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Miklos?
Yes. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and,
We will adjourn back to the regular city council meeting, and next will be public hearing item 8A. This is resolution number 10,118, a resolution adopting the city manager's fiscal year 18-19 operating and capital budgets for the city of Folsom, the successor agency, the Folsom Public Financing Authority, and the Folsom Ranch Public Financing Authority.
okay, I guess that, oh, it's Jim Francis. Good evening.
I tried to lock the doors this time so no one could get out, but
Yeah, well,
the
we
fire
tried.
No, instead the doors
chief
were locked
stopped
when
me.
people were trying to get into the meeting.
There's a reason they have Panic hardware on there, Jim.
Yeah. This is I'm not going to present the entire proposed budget again, but I will present the certain changes and amendments to that budget and the impact of those on the entire budget. There are really 3 major items. The first was that we have eliminated the police contract for the Folsom Lake Dam security. It's our information that is a good possibility of not happening, so we've taken that out of the budget. If it does happen in the future, we can certainly come back to you and amend the budget to put it back in, but we've eliminated it for this presentation. That reduced the general fund revenues and expenses by $1.6 million. We also added the Livermore Park turf replacement project, and that adds $800,000 to the general fund, both on the revenue and expense side. We had a third item that was referred from the council, and that was playground shading to Parks and Rec. We're recommending that that get referred to the commission to study the impacts of that. I'll take that up a little more in detail. When we looked at it, there are 52 existing playgrounds and 31 separate swing apparatus locations. When you put one of the shade structures up, there are issues concerning time of day and where the sun is in accordance with that apparatus, who you're going to serve, whether they're young adults or smaller, the coverage area, coverage design, in terms of a solid canvas or the sails, as they call them, type of design. Each area would have wind and tension load differences that you'd have to take into consideration for anchoring it. And then existing underground conditions, including utilities and soil types that you would have to do to the existing parks. We did have some experience with Economy Park, which this was an alternative, an ad alternative, of which there were 4 bids that ranged from $65,000 to $100,000. Given those figures, you'd have roughly a $5.4 to $8 million price tag to do the entire city. And given simply the magnitude of that and the issues that would be surrounding that, we're recommending that it be referred to the Parks and Rec Commission to look at the feasibility and study that in terms of the priorities in the park master plan. In regards to the other 2 items, the police contract and Livermore Park, the turf replacement, these are the impacts on the 7 different funds that you are approving. The general fund is reduced by that $842,000 that I mentioned earlier. The enterprise fund has a small decrease. Your main impact is with your special revenue fund, which increases because we're using some Quimby funds for the turf replacement. And the internal service funds, which go up because we're using some compensated absences and risk management funds for both the park and the replacement and the grant replacement. Your capital projects fund has a very small impact. Fiduciary funds and debt service funds don't have any impact at all. So the total rises by about $129,000 for the total of the 7 different funds. In looking at just the general fund itself, none of the property tax, sales tax, and occupancy tax, none of your taxes were affected by any of those moves. We haven't changed any of those proposals. Your charge for services is reduced because that's where the income from the grant came in. Your transfers in from other funds is increased, and that's how we brought in the money to pay for the turf replacement and actually some of the loan, or the grant, I'm sorry. This just shows on your charges for services, we didn't touch anything else in that in terms of revenues from Parks and Rec and ambulance fees. It's only your police contract amount that's affecting that. The impact on the staffing recommendations with the Folsom Lake Dam security contract out, these 9 positions are taken out of the budget that were associated with that, which reduces your general fund from 360 positions to 351, and 27 roughly to 18 positions. None of the utilities or solid waste or transit were affected by that. All the rest of the positions remain as they were originally presented. In terms of by category, your salaries and benefits are reduced because of the staffing decreases that we had from the grant. And the red line is the new number that you would have, and you can see the reductions in terms of both salaries and benefits. The outlay is increased by the $800,000, reflecting the building, the turf replacement. And I brought in I itemized the benefit detail because we've talked so much about PERS. That obviously, when you reduce the positions, that goes down, as does your FICA contribution and your health contribution, because we use some of that money from risk management to fund the park. In terms of by department, general government, fire, community development, public works, and the library all go down slightly. Again, that was due to the risk management allocations going down. Police is the one major effect, which goes from 24.4 to 22.9 million. And the authorized positions go from 12 down to 3. So that's the biggest change. Parks and Rec goes up from 15.6 to 16.4, again reflecting the addition of the turf replacement. In terms of the general tax revenue pie that there's very little change to that because of this amendment. General government, community development, and non-departmental go down somewhat. Public safety remains roughly the same, and Parks and Rec goes up slightly. Your fund balance and our commitment in the budget does not change. We're still committed to $1 million, adding that in this budget to grow up to 18.4 and keep it within 20% of your expenditures, 20.6%. So there's no change in the budget as it would affect your fund balance. With that, see if there's any questions.
For Jim? Roger? So with regards to the play structures, I appreciate you guys looking into that, and I think it's a good idea to kick it back to the commission. I would recommend, from what I've heard from as far as feedback on that idea, is to obviously not propose going full out, but doing specific parks in specific boroughs, if you will, on the city,
right,
to give options for folks to have those shaded structures. So I don't know if that's in there or not.
Yeah, that is in fact exactly, Mr. Mayor, if I might just add a little bit to the dialogue. That is exactly what we're intending to do. Given that this is a new program and given the current status of the Parks Master Plan, it just made sense for the Parks and Recreation Commission to answer exactly those questions. Where do we start? And what is the program within those starting points once we select the park? Are we looking for midday shade or early morning shade? Because it really serves different audiences. And so we wanted to really get that exercised, and the time that we have allowable within a budget cycle, it just isn't enough to really get to those answers. But we expect to have that well exercised by next year's budget process.
Thank you.
I'd like to mention that we've tried this before, trying to find shade for this, and it's not an easy thing to do. And we've had some attempts where the wind just destroyed everything we did. So, but everything's new, and as time goes, you get better material, better concepts, so it's worth the study, and I think the Park Commission is the right spot to start. And with that price tag, obviously, it's not a priority for every park in the city. But it, as Roger said, you can be selective, and the Park Commission would know by attendance which one to go if they can figure it out, if they can get the right equipment. And I appreciate that you found the money for the replacement turf. That big crowd that just left us, they would like to know that too, because they play on that, and it's a safety hazard. I appreciate the city manager and the finance director and everybody doing it. If you had to delete certain things internally from the budget, would that stop me from voting tonight on the budget? But I would like to meet with you and see the areas that, because I remember what the city manager told me many years ago. as I was watching TV one night, I haven't, might be weird, but I watch other city councils because they're interesting in what they're doing and what we're doing. And I saw where the Citrus Heights indicated they had a $30 million at the time fund, I guess a rainy fund. And I thought, my gosh, that's a lot of money. And that's when we were just coming out of our problem. And I asked the city manager, and I bought into his answer completely. He says it wasn't so much our challenge to build a fund real quick, but it was to invest in the community and keep it moving forward and keep providing the services to the people. And that philosophy is what we've done, and we've done well. And so I think that's good. But again, if you had to come up with 800 or 600,000 somewhere offline, I'd like to meet with you and see where you got it and see what I can do about it.
Mr. Mayor, and maybe I can just add a little bit, because I think Jim explained it well, and maybe I can just use different words, and it might be clear. There's really only one item in the budget that was presented to you on the 23rd of April that doesn't exist today, and that is all the associated revenues and expenses for the dam security contract. That is all out. That has a bit of a cascading effect that Mr. Francis, I think, demonstrated. With regard to the addition to budget, and that is the Livermore artificial turf refurbishment project. And I am sad that the youth, and I know Jim was very excited to present that part of the budget to them, and he did tell me that when he saw that all of the crowd outside waiting for what he thought was waiting for the budget presentation. So I know how disappointed he was to see them leave.
Well,
but let me explain it to you this way.
They're at home now watching. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay.
I bet they are. So there is nothing that this is replacing in the budget, so we're not doing without any single thing in order to accommodate this. Essentially, what we're doing is continuing and perhaps accelerating a little bit what we've been doing as we've gotten our internal service funds back up to health, and that has reduced their burden on the rest of the budget. And so they're taking a smaller percentage of the payroll, even a smaller percentage than what we had proposed this year. And we'll just take a closer look at those next year to make sure that we didn't over-accelerate reducing that capacity, right? Because you're absolutely right. What I've said a million times with regard to our financial budgeting and our investments in the community, and that is we're not really here to build a balance sheet. We're here to build a community. So we save money when we need to, and we invest money when we should in the proper way. So all we've really done is reduce our savings rate, if that makes sense to you. Yep. And we don't believe that we've reduced it too far, but we're going to report back to you next year what we think we might need to do in order to make sure that our savings continues to keep pace as our expenses build. So there is no this for that here.
Very good answer. Perfect.
Thank you.
Anybody else for Jim?
You know, just one comment related to the shade stuff. I know where I used to take my kids, there was actually decent tree shade at BT Collins. So, you know, let's not lose sight of those opportunities rather than just all manufactured stuff. I know that's a slow solution, but you know, if this is going to be phased in, you know, I think looking, you know, down the line, 15 and 20 years, you know, I think we all like to plant trees in this community, so there might be some good opportunities for some of the stuff that can be, you know, figured into a slower solution. But that's just a comment for the look that Parks and Rec give on that. So.
And that's actually, I think Andy's comment is a particularly good solution for the sun angle issue. I know that, you know, Mitchell Park as an example, because of where that park is located, just kind of below my house, there's not much you can do in the later hours in the day. The sun's going to be there, unless you build a wall.
Okay, you said you had another comment?
Jim, I have another comment. It's a general, because I looked at this as I read more and more of the budget. I think we need to convene a special, not to stop the approval, but after we do this, we have got to sit down and look at all the departments that are using or being programmed for overtime salaries. And when I came on this council 9.5 years ago, the biggest problem I saw in the fire department was the the overhead and extra hours, you know. And I know how great both, all the departments are. I'm not criticizing it, that has to be. But we've got to look at everything. And I looked in, I think it was the Public Works, I think, where they, it's probably things we just got to know more. Maybe I have to know more. Because they set in Public Works in certain areas a certain every year standard, say $400,000 or $4,000 for overtime for the different areas. And they always come in 180,000 or whatever. But they're always the same. And so somehow, you know, you hope that, you know, 4,000 is not a realistic number. Every year they keep coming in 170,000. I don't know why we don't. There may be an answer, and I don't know it. Maybe it's an accounting thing, or maybe it's just, you know. But in the case of the million plus for the fire department, that's been going on every year for the 10 years I've been sitting on this chair. Now, I give a lot of credit to Andy back in '07 before I came here. He had a great proposal, which was very thought-provoking and visionary about using overtime to cut into the pension, because he saw the pension was going to be a problem, and he did it. However, he didn't see, nor did any of us see, what was going to happen in '08 when the nation collapsed, and what we needed at the right time was actual money, not future money. And that got us in trouble. And in the meantime, we had downgraded the spots. Well, we've upgraded the numbers of firemen, okay? But we haven't decreased that overhead at all with the overtime pay. So either we got the wrong model, or I don't understand how we fund that, okay? And I think a workshop that we just go over, and I think that workshop should be maybe city manager concurrence with department heads, with us, so we can just kick it around, maybe get one of the big conference rooms, and just for an education, because it is confusing when you look at it, and it's not the only department. Other departments have the same thing. They have a standard projection. It doesn't even match up, and they do it year after year, and I saw 2 years they did that. So I think it is, the only thing I would have is, I think we need to study collectively through the whole department, the whole city, how we schedule and how we use our overtime.
The only comment I would make on that is I would agree with you that overtime's a fairly complicated subject. So, for instance, in fire, we don't budget for the OES reimbursement or the expense when we send a crew out to fight a forest fire. Right. So that's all on overtime. We don't budget for it because we get reimbursed for it, and then when we use it, we come back and get modifications. So it makes the budget look like you're going over budget a lot on your overtime when you're really not, because you've got an equal amount of revenue coming in. The other is that we part of that, and this is true for all the departments, is that we don't over budget the staff. So that, for instance, if there's I'll take refuse, you know, if there's a driver out or a couple of drivers out, we haven't budgeted for an extra or a reserve driver or anything. So we've got to cover that route, and that's usually done through overtime. So those are the kind of reasons, and there's reasons for in each department for that. I believe, and I could go back and look, I think the actual overtime number that we have in the budget this year is down from last year. The proposed budget is actually down from last year. But, you know, again, it's a...
The ones I saw, it didn't reflect that in my mind anyway.
It's a case-by-case kind of situation.
I'm not indicating any abuse. I don't think, and if they have to work overtime, they need to be paid. I have no problem. But I got to understand, how come we can't fix that problem? Because we've at least put 10 or more firemen, outstanding firemen, to add to our outstanding firemen, but we don't cut that number. Now, if you told me you were forecasting when the crews go out to fight fires elsewhere in that overtime, I would be less concerned. But you're not. That's overtime for right here in the city, and that's why I can't understand them. because it can't be the fire people, because I think they're too damn good for that. So it's got to be a model of some sort of how that's reflecting. So I just think we need to, all of us collectively with the department heads, to figure out what that is.
Maybe it would be helpful to go back, especially with fire, because that's something that you can't predict. We don't know when the next wildfire is going to take place. So I'm wondering if you get some information from the fire chief and look back over the course of the last 8 years or whatever, find out how much overtime has been charged because we had crews on wildfires outside the city, and how much money came back in. And I think that might explain it, because it basically gets corrected a couple of times a year when we get the money back from the state.
Yeah, but I don't think it is, I know what you're saying, and that's what confuses me, because you don't program that type, you let it happen, then you get reimbursement. So this is overtime that doesn't consider on the budget anyways.
Yeah, and that's mainly the fact
What Kerry just said, it is not considered, that's why I think
That's
something's
mainly the
gotta
fact that
see
we
it.
don't overstaff. We don't have extras, if you will.
It does show up in your budget document, though. So as current years become prior years, the actual overtime expenditures are reflected in those numbers. So Mr. Francis
are
is
the
absolutely
intergovernmental
accurate. They're
transfers.
not budgeted prospectively, but the reactions to those stimulus are in fact indicated in the budget in the historical sections. So as you look at the previous years, those numbers are in there.
The last adopted budget from last year had the trued up numbers from anything that would have been there.
That is correct.
Well, that's fine,
Yeah.
but when I won't use fire, I use maybe public works, I see $400,000 or $4,000, and then there's 180, 190. 4,000 was projected for both the previous 2 years, and both of them were 180 and 190 actual. So that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, unless you want to
Yeah.
play real conservative and, you know, and.
Well, we will undertake an analysis of overtime, but what I can tell you is, overtime tends not to be programmed, right? It's a responsive thing. I will tell you that we burned a whole lot of overtime back in March when we had those significant rain events.
Right.
Right? And that lasts for over a number of days. And even though you might accurately predict events like that over the course of years, by over budgeting for them, when we know that we might have other ways to fund those overtime hours, you create real tension in the budget prospectively, where you might be cutting out things like replacing the turf in Livermore Park if we were to over anticipate those type of emergencies in our budgets. And so that's a little bit of the art and science of doing it, and that's why it's kind of hard to say we have an overtime program that needs to be tweaked, because it's not really a program. It's
Maybe
really,
it needs to be understood.
it's,
Because
well,
if you, what you just described, I would ask as a councilman, just give me the idea. For example, I know, but when they have a trend that's such a big difference, it doesn't rain every year.
well, we will do some research, and we will establish the trends as they exist, and we'll be able to share those with the
That's fine.
council. That's
fine, thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Any other questions for Jim?
No, good job.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so I'll go ahead and open a public hearing on this item. Public hearing is now open. Anybody wishing to come down and speak on this item, please feel free to do so. I don't believe I have any written requests.
You have no request to speak.
Okay. Seeing nobody come down.
I'll move resolution
Close the public
10.
hearing first. So with that, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Okay, Councilmember Howell.
I'll move resolution 10118.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
A motion second. Any further discussions? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Gaylord?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Miklos?
Yes. Okay, call the next item, please.
Okay, your next item this evening is new business item 9A. This is ordinance 1284, an ordinance amending section 2.06.010 of the Folsom Municipal Code regarding city council salaries. This is introduction and first reading of the ordinance.
Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Stephen Wang, City Attorney. The council last reviewed City Council salary roughly 20 years ago, and this item is about adjusting the amount of compensation paid to council members and the mayor. The Folsom City Charter requires council salary be set by ordinance. So in 1985, the council adopted an ordinance and established council salary at $100 per month with an additional $50 to the mayor. In 1990, council amended the ordinance and increased the salary to $400 a month with an additional $100 to the mayor. And then in response to a recession in 1992, the city council reduced its salary by 25%. Quickly, in 1993, the council amended the ordinance again by providing that the council salary set in the ordinance is the maximum amount, and the actual salary not exceeding the maximum may be adopted by the council by resolution. So between 1993 and 1998, council members were paid $300 a month with an additional $75 to the mayor. And then in 1998, the council adopted a resolution setting council salary at the maximum, which is $400 per month, and an additional $100 to the mayor. Also, in 1998, the council authorized compensation to the board of directors of the Folsom Public Financing Authority at $200 a month. So combining the two amounts, the $400 for city council and the $200 for serving on the Folsom Public Financing Authority, council members have been receiving a total of $600 a month, and the mayor has been receiving a total of $700 a month. Since then, there has been no further adjustment to council salary. And with inflation, with the assistance of our finance folks, the $400 figure set in 1998 equates to $614 in today's dollars, and the $100 additional sum to the mayor equates to $154.
Steve, did you include or not the public financing authority money?
No, ma'am. This $400 and $100 is just the council salary. The $200 authorized by the council for serving on the board of the Folsom Public Financing Authority is a separate matter. That's not part of tonight's discussion, but it is still valid. It is still the $200 per month. So in the Greater Sacramento region, mayor and council member salaries are as follows. They generally range between $300 and $800 per month. And as you can see, Folsom is among one of the lowest. Sacramento is way out there. So with that, staff is seeking council direction as to the amount of new council salary the council may wish to establish. And staff recommends that the council instruct staff to fill in the blanks in ordinance number 1284, and then introduce and conduct first reading of that ordinance. But before we do that, as provided in the city charter, no increase in city council salary shall take place until the start of the terms of the council members elected at the next regular election, which is November 6, 2018. And hence, if the council decides to set a new salary maximum, staff will bring back a resolution to set the actual amount of the city salary in a future meeting. Again, staff is asking council direction as to the amount of the new salary the council may wish to adopt for the city council. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Any questions, city attorney? Okay. I'll jump in. I'm the one that has been talking about this for a while, given the feedback of a lot of people in the community that would love to take a run and sit up here and represent their community in this capacity. And what I've heard very loud and clear is that if you look at the composition sitting up here now, there's not a lot of 9-to-5ers up here. In fact, I'd be defiant to say that there aren't any 9-to-5ers up here. We're either self-employed or some form or fashion, or we have opportunities, very rare as they are, to be able to have an employer that allows us extra time off to do all the things that we do. And I know that there's a lot of stresses on the commitments of being a city council member, what people don't always see, and they're shocked when we tell them how many committees and commissions we sit on outside this building on a regular, continuous basis. So my purpose for bringing forward, number one, I'm not running in November, and so there's no self-serving interest here whatsoever, so I thought it was appropriate. Number two, it's appropriate to talk about it now because we haven't had any type of adjustment since 1998. I think it's appropriate to recognize that our salaries, in my opinion, is holding people back from an opportunity to be able to run for city council. That way, if they do need to participate, and they should, and expect to participate, I should say, in regional committees and commissions, they shouldn't have to burn their sick time or their vacation time or annual leave time, whatever the employer happens to call it, in order to do their total community work that I know they would love to do, and the detriment to the family is holding a lot of people back because that's the sacrifice they do in order to do this job. So additionally, looking forward, and I think Jim will probably agree with me, we've had some concerns probably within the last 60, 90 days about, and you've seen change in interest rates, you've seen some adjustments in some of the factors that he used like LIBOR and, well, the new version of LIBOR now. So there's more inflation that's coming. That's why you're seeing some of the maneuvers that the federal government is actually taking place, done a couple already this year. I don't want to wait another, or whoever the council is, hopefully we don't wait another 20 years to look at salaries and go, gee, what are we doing right or wrong or otherwise? I would like to make sure there's an opportunity for anybody at any time that wants to run for city council and take the next step in their community to know that they can do that and not put it as a detriment of picking either a city council job or their family. Because loud and clear, and I'll use one of my former colleagues, and he was a former mayor 2 times, that was one of his main reasons for leaving the city council. It was hurting the time he was spending with his family and participating as his kids were growing up. So I'd like to start our conversation by saying I think that we're at 400 for our base salary. I'd like to propose that to 600, be somewhat consistent with pretty much the neighbors we compete with, number one. And number two, I think we need to keep intact the PFA, $200 a month, because not only does that cover a little bit of that, it also helps offset some of the additional expenses we incur going down to the regional committees and commissions. So the grand total would be 600 for city council members, 700 for mayor, and then the additional 200 for the PFA and regional committees and commissions. So I'd like to start that with a conversation, see what you folks up here think. Anybody?
I'll go ahead and jump in. I agree with the way you characterize this, Mr. Mayor. There is a balance to this, so you don't want to go too far one direction or another, and I think we have been, too far in the other direction. This proposal to increase it by the amount you've done will not entice me to consider running either. So it's not enough, but it does. All of us who serve here on the city council know that there are large demands on our time, which we're very willing to take on. But again, a lot of times we're sacrificing income opportunities for, again, what we all feel is a noble cause in this community. So I think this is the right adjustment. It's reflected in, just kind of the inflation adjustment. And so I'm very comfortable with what you've proposed. So.
Anybody else?
I guess I'll
Go ahead.
I'll chime in. Being one with a young family and not a traditional 9-to-5, but a sort of 9-to-5, I guess you would say. I see the argument. I just don't see the point. Honestly, I think it's so small. The stipend's small, anyways. Increasing it at all, I don't think would make a difference. So I guess just my feelings.
Well, I'd love to increase it more, but I think I want to be reasonable and pretty much match what the region is, because I think the region's well behind really the commitments that are made. I think Elk Grove, and with a combination between Elk Grove and, certainly not the city of Sacramento, but Elk Grove, to me, is more reflective of really something that would encourage more people to run, but I thought I'd just start someplace.
Well, I'm in another category. I'm a retired guy with a fixed money coming in. And when I got on this council, I made the personal decision that when I got compensation, I was going to try to give it away so that when I got off this council, I didn't have to worry about the loss. I never put it in my general income. And of course, I didn't expect to stay this long, but I am. So I don't see no problem. And according to the staff report, the inflation rate brings us to about 6.14. And that 600 is close enough to 6.14. And it's a reasonable, just going with inflation of 20 years. I don't think that's unreasonable. I would vote for that amount. That just gives me more money to buy flowers for my seniors, So that's fine. I have no problem with that. It's not going to add to it won't entice me to stay beyond my 2 years coming up. I can tell you that, but I think it's worthwhile.
You also want to weigh in, suggestions,
Here's from Gary.
comments? I'll go ahead and make a motion then that the city council salaries be adjusted to a maximum of $600 a month. The mayor would be $100 over that. I don't think we need any adjustments for the current PFA and other stipends.
Unless the council would like me to bring it back as well sometime in the future. But right now, the $200 per month for PFA is still the current amount.
Yeah, so I'm just talking, leaving that intact and just adjusting the salaries, 600 for the council members and 700 for the mayor. I'll back up, 600 for council members, the $100 additional for mayor. That's my motion.
I'm comfortable with that, so I'll go ahead and second that.
Any further discussion items? Roger, anything? Okay, go ahead and call the roll on that item.
Councilmember Gaylord?
No.
Howell?
Nope.
Moran?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Miklos?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor, allow me to clarify, was that introduction of first reading? Of
Yes.
the ordinance 1284?
Yeah, introduction and first reading of the ordinance.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next item.
Your next item is city manager reports.
Mr. Palmer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everyone. I have no additional commentary for this evening. Thank you and good night.
Okay,
Next is council comments.
Roger, start your end.
Today is Teacher Appreciation Day, and I had the privilege of serving the teachers of Oak Chan Elementary coffee all day today. So it was really fun, and I just wanted to say thank you to all our teachers. And with that, good night.
Congratulations to Rick Hillman, our new police chief, and our new commanders at Folsom PD. That these ceremonies are going to take place next week, but they're already pretty much in those positions. And I had the pleasure of attending the badging and pinning ceremony for the new police chief for the city of Santa Monica, which is their gain, our loss. It was our former chief, Renault. Lovely ceremony and a good showing by the myself, Councilmember Mayor Miklos, Folsom City staff folks, and a number of people from our police department, as well as the city manager. So that was a great event. The handcar races were done by the Historic Railroad folks last weekend. That's always a really fun event. I have several friends who rode in the Great Scott Ride. I heard that was a really, really good time. And the Historic Railroad folks, the PVS&R folks, were out on the excursion rail. There's Robert and the Parks and Rec Department have told us about all the bike events that are going on this month. So as usual, if you can't find something fun to do in Folsom, then you should turn off your computer and walk outside. The usual advice, please slow down. Red lights mean you, stop signs mean you, and pretend your mother is driving behind you. With that, I'll say goodnight.
Andy?
Yeah, I have nothing to add, just say that look forward to all the great activities going on in town over the next month. And it's nice to have some nice spring weather to enjoy it all in. So with that, I'll say good evening.
Okay, and just a couple quickies. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I guess the vice mayor.
I always have to remind him,
Yeah.
he forgets I'm here, you know. No,
Vice Mayor Sheldon, would you like to go next?
why not? Why
Okay.
not? Tonight, Vista had their, Vista High School had their awards night, and from all indications, it went well, from what I've been told. A lot of scholarship winners, a lot of kids awards. They do a good job. 2 weeks from now, I believe it's Folsom has theirs. So I can't believe the summertime's coming, but that tells you it is. That's all.
Okay. So just, again, apologize for being a little late, but I took the time to present to one of our local community members, Nick Hill Cowdell, for his achievement to the rank of Eagle Scout. So I was happy to present on behalf of the City Council and community his Eagle Scout resolution this afternoon. And the only one item of business is someone could look into, Everett, I don't know which department, but that monument sign that the Parkways had up for a gazillion years on the property we now own as open space, I think we could probably have it removed. I think they only had those 16 houses left that are under construction, and the Parkway is pretty much done. On Folsom Boulevard, it was the old hotel site. I forget what lot we used to call that, Lot Y or whatever. That was brought to my attention, or Lot C, yeah, Lot C.
Mr. Mayor, you're referring to a developer reference sign?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a cement monument type sign up on the side of the hill.
Understood.
Yeah, that we
Okay,
now own.
We'll look into it.
Yep, okay. With that, we're going to, as advertised, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the regular meeting of the Folsom City Council and call to order the special meeting of the Folsom City Council to go into closed session. If you please call the roll.
Your adjournment to closed session tonight is for item 14A, public employee employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, city manager.
Second?
We have a motion second, call the roll.
Councilmember Gaylord?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Miklos.
Yes, we'll adjourn to closed session.
Better come back. So we have to come back, right?
Yes, we have to come back.